Hi all, welcoming our distinguished delegates, respected organizers, my esteemed colleagues, and fellow changemakers from across the globe. It is both an honor and a responsibility to stand before you today at this crucial juncture in human history. We are gathered not merely for dialogue, but for purpose, a shared mission to forge our path towards a greener, more sustainable world. This is not just a theme, it is the call of our time. As the clock ticks, our environment whispers, sometimes roars, urgent message of distress, from melting glaciers to rising sea levels, from deforestation to biodiversity loss. The signs are unmissable. But beyond the climate crisis lies the crisis of our conscience. One that challenges ours is to act and our capacity to innovate our wisdom. Sustainability is not a trend. It is a necessity. And it is far more than planting trees or reducing plastic. It is about balance between people, planet, and profit, between growth and preservation, between consumption and conservation. The United Nations defines the sustainable development as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of our future generations. But let's go a step further. Trust sustainability is intergenerational empathy in action. It is love for those we may never meet. Let us talk something about renewable energy reduction and revolution. Solar, wind, tidal, and geothermal energy have moved from the fringes to the mainstream. Innovations in battery storage and smart grids are making clean energy more accessible and reliable than ever before. In fact, I'm reading out the thesis, which was recently published in UNESCO by me, and in fact, I won an award as a world's best women engineer leader for environmental sustainability. So I have taken up this thesis, and this is a very fantastic moment for us to understand the importance on how well we can build the greener zone, and each and every one of us could take the responsibility of it without any dependency on our government. About green architecture and green cities, urban development no longer has to mean environmental degradation. From vertical gardens to carbon neutral buildings, cities are reimagining their footprints. Circular economy models are transitioning from linear table make dispose models to circular systems where waste becomes a resource. Companies like IKEA and Apple are now designing for disassembly and recyclability. Precision farming, plant-based proteins, aquaponics, and regenerative agriculture are transforming the way we grow and consume food. Technology for conservation includes artificial intelligence, satellite imagery, and drones, which is being used to monitor deforestation and to track endangered species and manage water resources effectively. But innovation is not just about high-tech solutions. It is about thinking differently, acting responsibly, and collaborating between sectors and borders. While technology is a great enabler, the climate is a great sustainer. A greener world cannot be built by policy alone. It must be built on values, indigenous knowledge, local traditions, and grassroots movements have long practiced sustainability, often out of necessity. There is wisdom in simplicity. Importantly, there is power in community. From the forest conservation efforts of tribal communities in India to the zero waste life cycle movements in urban Europe, we see that the sustainability can be deeply cultural. We must preserve and integrate these live examples into our global frameworks. Empowering local communities, especially women and youth, is crucial. They are not just beneficiaries of change mechanisms or essential tools, but no country can go it alone. We all will have to get integrated and work together for this great mission. International cooperation, as seen in Paris Agreement and the COP summits, must be backed with accountability and transparency. We need enforceable commitments, not just ceremonial promises. What's happening in today's politics? Moreover, we must ensure that the sustainability efforts are just, meaning they include developing nations, marginalized communities, and vulnerable populations. Let us remember, once again, let us remember climate justice is a social justice. The road to sustainability is not without obstacles. Political short sightedness, economic interests that resist change, technological gaps in developing countries, public apathy, and most importantly, misinformation. Let us not fall into the trap of greenwashing, where appearances of sustainability are more valued than the real impact. Sustainability should never be a marketing strategy. It must be a, it must be a moral commitment. So, what do? We educate ourselves and others. We innovate with empathy and purpose. We collaborate across nations, sectors, and ideologies. And most importantly, we act because the cost of inaction is the price of the next generation, which should never have to pay. If you want to change the future, we must begin by changing the way we educate our present. Sustainability education must start not just in universities, but also in research labs, but in elementary classrooms, homes, and even public spaces. Our curricula need to evolve from note learning to real world learning, from memorizing facts to understanding systems thinking. Imagine if every child learned not only about algebra and grammar, but also about climate action, biodiversity, responsible consumption, and ethical leadership. Imagine a generation that not only knows sustainability but lives it. We need eco literate citizens, not just engineers and entrepreneurs, but conscious consumers, mindful leaders, and compassionate global citizens. Programs like UNESCO's Education for Sustainable Development, we call it as ESD, and movements like Fridays for Future, led by youth like Greta Thunberg, reminds us that education is not just a luxury. It's a lever for planetary transformation. While governments and individuals play a role, the private sector has perhaps the largest footprint and therefore the greatest opportunity to lead change. We must have heard about corporate social responsibility, taking care of social awareness, importance, welfare, and it should evolve into corporate environmental accountability. We are seeing a growing number of companies taking bold steps. And based on our research, I'm addressing few companies which are already working on that. Patagonia, they donate profits to environmental causes. Unilever, they are working towards fully biodegradable packaging. Tesla, they have shifted the automobile industry's trajectory towards electrification. IKEA now invests in solar and wind farms to offset into energy consumption. More than ever, green entrepreneurship, since most of us are entrepreneurs here, So I would definitely wanted to address this particular point in this forum. More than ever, green entrepreneurship is arising. Young innovators are creating eco-friendly solutions, biodegradable plastics from seaweeds, vegan leather from pineapple waste, apps that reward carbon footprint reduction, and blockchain systems from transparent carbon tracking. The future of business is green and should be green. And those who do not adapt has to be left behind by principle and by protocol. Cities are both the problem and the solution. By 2050, more than 68% of the world's population will live in urban areas. This means we must rethink urban planning entirely. Sustainable cities must include public transportation systems that is fast, affordable, and electric, green spaces that enhance mental health and purify air, water harvesting and zero waste prawns, smart traffic and energy efficient street lighting. Let's learn from cities like, based on our research, Copenhagen, which aims to be carbon neutral by 2025. How awesome would it be? Singapore, which has vertical gardens and a highly efficient public transport system. Brazil, known for pioneering bus rapid transit, BRT, and urban forestry. Sustainability, once again, should not be a luxury. It must be embedded into the DNA of our urban infrastructure. A greener world is not just about reducing carbon, it's about restoring life. Every species plays a role in the ecological balance. Yet we are losing biodiversity at an alarming rate. The Amazon burns, the coral reefs bleach, and endangered species face extinction daily. Rewilding initiatives in Europe, mangrove replantation in Asia, and large scale conservation projects in Africa are beacons of hope. But we must go even more further. We must create more wildlife corridors to connect fragmented habitats, community based conservation, where the locals are stakeholders, policies to curb illegal wildlife trade and overfishing. Let us remember protecting biodiversity is not just ethical, it is essential. Technology, if used responsibly, can be one of the greatest allies in the climate fight. So, two, three important technologies which we currently use for greener zone could be everyone knows artificial intelligence, blockchain, and digital twins. Most importantly, this digital twins technology is becoming very popular in environmental sustainability since because it can stimulate planning impacts before real world implementation. So it provides a lot of prototypes. And it's still in research, but a few countries are already operating that. We must pair these powers with ethics. Digital equity is key so that the innovation serves all of humanity, not just the privileged few. Facts don't change people, feelings do. Once again, facts don't change people, feelings do. It means the behavioral change is also an important aspect which has to be considered. And this is considered as an underutilized strategies in sustainability, that is our behavioral change. It's not enough to know what's right. We must feel compelled to do it because most of us know what to do, how to plant trees, how to maintain them, at least some basic stuffs. But are we really compelled to do it? Simple interventions work by our individuals could be color coded bins for waste segregation, real time energy usage feedback, community leader endorsement for eco practices. When we turn eco action into a norm, people follow. We must design a world where the easiest choice is the greenest choice. So, what might a sustainability future actually look like? Maybe we could slightly imagine cities that breathe as humans do, schools that teach harmony with nature, companies that profit without polluting, rivers that flow clean, and forests that sings again. A planet where economic growth is not achieved at the cost of ecological death. So, this vision is not utopian, and it's possible for each one of us, be leaders, thinkers, game changers, pledge not just to imagine it, but to build it. Let me close with a few lines that encapsulate our mission and my mission here. The earth does not ask for gratitude. It's my own poem, so I just want to end it up with such quote. The earth does not ask for gratitude, only grace in return. She gives without question. It is time we learn for a greener dawn. Let each action be our seed. A better world, it's not a wish, it's a need. Dear friends, we are not just witnesses to a changing world, we are the change makers. The seeds we sow today through visions, innovation, and unity will determine whether our children inherit the thriving planet or our dying ones. Let our legacy not be of regret, but of resilience, not of exploitation, but of harmony, not of depletion, but of hope. Together, let us move boldly towards a sustainable future where the earth breathes freely and every life flourishes. Thank you. Thanking the cluster of awards team for this. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving us an innovative presentations and of course giving her expertise. Now we would request Mr. Akshay Ahuja to kindly come onto the stage to felicitate Dr. Sheeba. Put your hands together for Dr. Sheeba once again, please. We always say think bigger, think greener. So she has the entire deep dive meaning about all the greeneries and of course the innovation and strategies for a greener world.